Hi, everyone. Welcome to Megaport Live Tech Drop-In. Let's give it a minute or so for everybody to join. We can kick this guy off. All right, so that was a quick minute. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Matt Madawi here, Solution Architect with Megaport. We're going to talk about some cool stuff going on. Let's see. So my topic today is going to be MVE with a pair of Fortigate firewalls in high availability using a public IP. So it's going to be a kind of narrow use case, but I figure I've been working on this project for a while and wanted to share with everybody, at least what a actual solution could look like using MVE. So what is Megaport Virtual Edge? Think of it like a virtual or a limited bare metal. So we provide the compute, the networking, and the internet. You bring your own license. So bring your own license model. It can be an SD-WAN router. So we support Cisco Viptela, Versa, Aruba. It could be a full-fledged virtual router like a Cisco 8KV, or we now support Aviatrix, or it could be a firewall, so like a FortiGate or a Palo Alto. So full-fledged, just like you would on your on-prem, but it's running on our platform. So there's a lot of advantages to doing it that way. You know, Traditionally, if you wanted to set up a point of presence in an area, you'd go to your co-location, sign a contract, take down a rack, get equipment ordered. You have to get it sent there, have to rack and stack it, cable everything up. Then you got to order circuits. None of that anymore. So, with Megaport, we try to make everything simple. So with just a couple clicks, everything's done in our portal. You could deploy your own firewall without being locked into any long-term contracts. You can deploy a firewall within minutes. So let's look at what the solution is that we're talking about here. So from a topology standpoint, it's basically two firewalls in an active-active. They're both sharing the same public subnet, which is this 162.43.144. This is through Megaport Internet. So we're service chaining some stuff here. We have the two firewalls plus Megaport Internet, and then also, our cloud connectivity. So in the back end, I have a server deployed in Azure at this 10.0.0.4. So that's a private server front ending on the Megaport edge. So using Megaport Internet, we have a public subnet. Everything is passing through the firewall. So you have your security inspection. You also get, advantages from a data egress standpoint because you're connecting privately to Azure. You're not going through the internet. So some of the rules of engagement, the FortiGate firewalls, in order to do HA, they have to be the same size, have to be running the same version. They also have to be in the same metro. So in this case, these are both deployed here in Dallas. That's where I'm based out of. We're in Cologix on the primary side, which is on the left, and we're in Digital Realty on the right. So this also gives you physical diversity, as opposed to, everything being in the same building, right? So in each one of these, we also have some connectivity between the firewalls because we're running FortiGate session protocol, so FGSP between them to make sure that the sessions are mirrored. So the the situation that we're trying to plan for, sorry, and going back, we also have, a public subnet, which is a /29 that we're advertising out to the internet. So we're actually trying to plan for situations where you would lose the entire firewall. So, normally the path of traffic would flow to the left here across the primary. And let's say you were to lose your whole firewall, your firewall crashed, or maybe the building set on fire or something like that, then traffic would immediately start passing on the secondary firewall. And in this case, we're doing destination NAT. So this public IP address uh, with the source is going to be my computer right here. And then that destination is going to be translated to this private IP. And the firewall, we're also doing source NAT. So uh, translating the firewall. The advantages of doing it this way is that because the IPs don't change, you won't break the session. So we should be able to fail over the firewall, at least fail over BGP sessions on this firewall, see all the traffic picked up on this other firewall without breaking a session. So let's pull out of here, and I'm going to bring up kind of from the Megaport portal. This is what it looks like. We have these two firewalls. So these are Fortinets. Uh, you can see the size. It's a smaller size possible. It's just for lab purposes. But you have a number of virtual cross connects. So each MVE can do 25 VXCs or virtual cross connects. So in this case, we have connectivity to Azure, to both firewalls. We also have Megaport Internet, which is how we can link up that public subnet. And then there's a couple links in between for HA purposes and also for advertisement. Moving along. Um, This is the actual, this is that primary firewall. So it's that 162.43, 144.29. So looks and feels exactly like your physical firewalls. No difference, except it's sitting on our platform. This guy's been running for a while because we've been still working on this lab. Here's the second firewall. So one of the keys about this is that they're both going to be advertising out the same subnet. So if you go here to BGP, and we're going to look at neighbors. So this is Azure, as you can see from the remote AS. And this is Megaport Internet. So that's our two neighbors. You can see subnet. So we're advertising this subnet out, and we're receiving a default route from Megaport. Likewise, on the primary firewall, it's the same. Actually, I should probably do get router info BGPs. Get So let's look at what routes we're advertising. Neighbor, of course. So we can see that this has a shorter path than we're going to go to the other firewall. It's very 32. So all we're seeing is this one neighborship, and we're advertising because our path is much longer, we're not getting the full BGP networks. So we're going to go ahead and test out what that looks like here. I'm going to be pinging. So this is my public IP here. So I'm pinging, and this is me going all the way through Megaport internet through the MVE to the server in the back end. And we can look at that through here. Get so this is my ICMP, this is my IP address. So my destination is this 43, and it's going to get natted to this IP address, and it's source natted to here. So you can see here we're making it all the way through because this table is complete. And let's look at, so if you have the FGSP established, you should see the session on the standby firewall. And so as you can see here, even though the traffic is flowing through this firewall, we still have the session here. So we know that traffic is flowing here because if you look at the interfaces, so we have this dot 41, and if traffic is flowing, you know, if all the traffic is being routed to the BGP router that's advertising the subnet, of course you're going to get a return ping. On the secondary, we shouldn't be able to see a return on this IP address. So this is that public subnet that we're advertising, but because traffic should be preferred to the other firewall, it doesn't have this physical interface, so it shouldn't return a ping. So we're going to look at that. Let's see. So as you can see, we're still pinging that guy. This is going to be the primary firewall, and then this is going to be the secondary. So as you can see, the secondary is not responding to ping because all the traffic is flowing through the primary firewall, and the primary doesn't have this interface. So there's no way for it to respond on that traffic. Okay. Uh, Now, another way to prove full access is, SSHing to that server in Azure on the back end. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. So as you can see here, it's showing my source NAT IP address, 192.168, and this is my server in Azure. So if I look at the interface, it's 10.0.0.4. So you can see here, we just have a simple session on SSH with that server in the back end. So a quick way that we can fail this guy over to just test the responsiveness is I'm gonna minimize this so we can maybe see everything. So we're gonna go to the primary firewall. I'm gonna fail BGP. I can't break the interface because that's how we have management. But I'm gonna fail over by just changing my ASN. on my primary firewall, so it's not going to participate. And so my secondary firewall, which is right here, which is not responding, should start taking over on the ICMP, and we're going to see how long that takes. So we're going to go here. So we lost 3 pings. As you can see, now we're responding on the secondary. This is the primary firewall is no longer responding on their IP, their interface, and we still have the same session on the Azure side. So in a nutshell, that's what that looks like. This is a oversimplification of how to achieve this. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about doing this, but effectively, um, we have a very quick performance, you know, losing just a few pings and not affecting user sessions. So I, that fits a lot of use cases from a performance standpoint. And Megaport has that advantage because we're actually not a pure layer 3. So like if you were to deploy a pair of firewalls in HA in a cloud service provider, they're only layer 3. We have some limited layer 2 ability. So we're able to work a solution like this. So what does the restoral look like, right? Like right now we're in a failed state, whereas your primary firewall is not participating in the routing process. So let's return this back to BGP. Click apply. So that's going to take a little bit to actually restore it, but you're going to see this secondary firewall here is going to stop responding. And then this primary firewall will start returning pings. There, right there. And in this case, we never lost ping going to the main server, and we still have our session. So we were able to fail over, fail back without breaking the session. So it's the magic of Megaport. Now, getting out of this, you know, this is just a very simplified lab to demonstrate our capabilities. Of course, if you were in multi-cloud, there's a lot of advantages. So let's say you were in Azure and AWS or AWS and Oracle. Instead of deploying firewalls to all of your clouds, you can deploy a single pair of firewalls and then link your clouds on the back end using Megaport. So that's all connecting privately, and you'll have full granular control of the stack from ingress to egress, and all the capabilities of the next gen firewall. So that's my solution in a nutshell. We also have a lot of docs available, not on this solution specifically, but on MVE in general, that can help you to stand up your own solutions, do your own labs, however you want to do it. And of course, our team is available, if you want to try something out before you pull the trigger on a big commitment, right? You want to make sure you validate everything. So we're always here to help out in that regard. Our docs page is publicly available. It's at docs.megaport.com. And We have Megaport Virtual Edge and our overview. So all the things that we talked about. The one thing I would encourage you to do is continuously check back though, because none of this is static. We're continuously adding support for new vendors. For example, we recently added support for Prisma SD-WAN with Palo Alto. We also have Meraki um, in the pipeline. That should be coming out pretty soon. But we're continuously expanding our footprint. So MVE is available in 26 metros across the world. So let's say you wanted to, you you bought a business that had an office in Sydney, Australia. You know, you could deploy a virtual edge to Australia so everybody can connect there and then use Megaport's private network to get across the pond back to your data center in North America, if that was the case. So yeah, that's the power of Megaport and everything that we can do from a MVE standpoint. Any questions? Well, thank you everyone for your time and have a great weekend.